Hello, friends, and welcome to Escaping the Mouse with your host, me, Breck Roll. So we had quite a weekend this past weekend. What with the Cameron Zoo on Saturday and the and lunch at Casa de Castillo in the morning on Sunday, and a live stream on Sunday afternoon. Hope you enjoyed all that. It's now Monday morning for me, and I'm going to spend a little bit of time just kind of catching up today. I have to do some laundry, which is just kind of boring. You know how that all works. And I got to get serious about it, responding to some of the job offers that I've looked at. I've basically, with the Texas Workforce Board site, they give you, they'll basically send an announcement to the employer that you're interested in this job, but it's your job to actually go to the site and fill out the paperwork. So I'm going to do that today. And just for fun, I thought, we're going to do just a wee bit of a cooking vlog. It's not going to be anything serious. I'm just going to make an omelet for breakfast. And I figured, you know what? Let's do that. Let's just cover that. That'll take a few minutes and that'll be interesting. So let's go. Now, the nice thing about omelets is that they're pretty simple to make, and there's just some basic ingredients, and you can basically almost throw just about anything into it. I usually, obviously, you got to start with the eggs, and I like ham in mine, so I got some sliced ham. I'm going to chop that up into little bits, and of course, you got to have the cheese, salt and pepper. And I'm going to use a little bit of the mushrooms that I have left over from the mushroom soup I did about a week and a half ago. And then, of course, anything with me has got to have Tabasco sauce in it. So let's start preparing the ingredients. All right, so first thing I'm going to do is just going to chop up the ham here. This is actually 2 little slices of ham that are just kind of together right now. We'll peel them apart in a minute. They're slightly frozen because they just came out of the freezer. I had to actually nuke them a little bit to break them into pieces, but that's fine. It works. And I'm just cutting it up into little squares, each one of them, about a ½ inch or a centimeter in size. And then I'm going to do the same thing with the mushrooms. Like I said, with this, you can throw just about anything you want into it. A lot of people, like ham, so that's what I'm doing. But, you can throw black olives. Those are good. I've been known to throw jalapenos. I love things that are spicy. That's just me. And what I want to do is just kind of chop up the mushroom pieces into little bits. Once again, about ½ inch pieces. Just so you have something to throw in there, and just so it's little bits and pieces. You don't really want to have big chunks in your omelet. And you can throw as much of this in as you want. It doesn't matter. A lot of things, a lot of things that I do around here, it's just you kind of throw what you're into it, and there's not really any right or wrong answers. It's all a matter of your own taste. So that takes care of that. Now let's get some eggs ready here. I usually like to, mix up my eggs in a mixing cup. So 1, 2, I've been known to put 4 eggs, but usually 3 is enough, so we'll do that. And then just a little egg beater just to kind of mix everything up, get it all mixed together. I actually kind of do this sometimes. It actually acts like a mixer here, to get you really well blended. And those are our basic ingredients. We're all ready to go now. Let's start assembling it all. So I'm going to start off with just a little cooking spray on the fry pan. This is just an 8-inch fry pan, nothing serious. Now I'm going to turn the heat on to high. I start off high and I'll actually back off a little bit once things heat up. But I'm going to start by pouring the eggs in. They kind of go all around, so just get a good coating all around here. And then in go the individual ingredients. The ham, what I'm doing, I'm going to start with the ham first. Get that in there, just kind of making sure it's kind of distributed throughout the whole omelet. You know, you don't want it to be like an archaeological dig where there's ham in certain places and none in the others. So, and then I'm going to just do the same thing with the mushrooms. Just distribute it kind of equally around the omelet. And then I'm going to throw in a little salt and pepper for taste. You may find you don't need to do any salt if you're not really into that, because the ham will actually provide a certain amount of salt. And then of course I like pepper. Anything a little spicy. And I grind my pepper a little coarse, so I get big chunks of it, and that's always really good for me. And then next we'll just kind of sprinkle in a little cheese on it. Because you can't have an omelet without cheese, right? And I'm trying to get, once again, a good coating, kind of try to cover up everything that's in there. You know, I like a lot of cheese on mine, so once again, you know, this is all kind of to taste. And then I'm just going to let it cook for a minute or two. I actually am going to put some Tabasco sauce on this too, but I found that if I put the Tabasco sauce on too early, when you cook it, it kind of mellows out the flavor. It takes away the bite. So I usually put on the Tabasco sauce right at the end. Like I said, if you're not into Tabasco sauce or spicy things, don't do it. That's the beauty of omelets. It's whatever you want it to be. We're starting to heat up a little bit, so I'm going to lower the heat just a hair. I tend to go around a little bit with a rubber scraper here, just to make sure we're staying away from the sides really well. You can see the cheese is starting to melt now really nicely. And the egg material itself seems to puff up a little bit. It kind of almost expands like bread. I think you get some air pockets in there the same way as you do with bread. So getting to the point now where we're ready to put the Tabasco sauce on. Because the cheese is almost completely melted now, and that's usually my signal when to do it. And I like a lot of Tabasco sauce on it. Like I said, it's a personal taste thing. And then we'll let that finish. Another minute, that'll be ready to go. Go around the edge a little bit with the scraper. Yeah, we're starting to get in good shape now. Alright, I think it looks like we're good here, so I'm going to turn the heat off, and we're going to use a rubber scraper and a spatula to flip it over and let it just cook the rest of the way like this for now. So let this sit for a minute or so, and we'll be ready to go. By kind of letting it sit this way, it kind of finishes the cooking. It also kind of glues the two halves together so it doesn't unfold from you when you get it on the plate. And then just flip it onto the plate and we are done. That looks decent, right? Now, if you have concern about the cholesterol that comes in eggs, you can substitute egg beaters or any other egg substitute. Those work really well. So, you know, it's an option out there. So there you go. That's ready for breakfast here. That's one omelet that's going to be very, very tasty. So there you go. All right. So I just spent about the last 4 hours updating all that stuff online for the individual jobs. Like I said, there were about 6 different positions that I found initially when I went over to Workforce Texas the other day. And I just basically clicked on a little button at the time saying, yeah, I'm interested in this job. but I had to go and actually apply at each one of the companies. It's ironic, each one of the companies asks you to upload your resume, but then the first thing they do is ask you to punch in manually every piece of information that's in that resume. It's also interesting that they all seem to use the same company to collect all this information, but unfortunately they can't read the information from different ones. So, every one of them, the company asks you the same question every time you go to one. What high school did you go to? What college did you go to? What work experience do you have? Are you a veteran? Are you disabled? All that stuff. It's the same questions in the same order by the same company, but for some reason, you get it answered each time. So there were a few of them that did like employee assessments to kind of test, how you deal with certain situations, or test your skills, test your math skills. Someone buys something for X amount of dollars and they pay 20% tax. What's the amount? Somebody sold X number of cars, and X number of one color car and Y number of another color car. How many cars total did they sell? That kind of stuff. Also some like grammar things and spelling things, and fill in the word that's most appropriate and all that kind of stuff. I can understand doing that, and that was all kind of unique for the individual company. But anyway, like I said, I spent a couple hours doing that, probably about 4, and got it done now. So let's see what happens. Tomorrow there are, over the next few days, there's a couple of seminars over at Workforce Texas that I think I'm going to go look into. Things like updating your resume and making a good impression and that kind of stuff. I've been out of the job seeking market for a very long time, so it can't hurt to go to that. So I think I'm going to hit a few of those over the next few days, and we'll see what happens. For now, however, I got to make a trip to the grocery store, and that's going to be also mind-numbingly boring. So I'll leave you behind and say once again, thank you as always for watching me, and I will see you next time on Escaping the Mouse. Good night.